During the 17th century, the Dutch East India Company shipyard in Amsterdam operated with unprecedented industrial speed, launching ocean-going vessels almost weekly. Established on the man-made island of Oostenburg, this sprawling naval yard became the beating heart of Dutch global maritime commerce. The Dutch East India Company, known as the VOC, required an enormous merchant fleet to sustain its trading monopoly across Asia. Amsterdam was already the primary commercial warehouse of Europe, boasting deep financial markets, seasoned mariners, and vast stockpiles of Baltic timber. To meet relentless demand for ships, the VOC transformed traditional Dutch shipbuilding craft into a centralized, highly structured manufacturing enterprise. The Oostenburg facility encompassed massive slipways, dedicated timber basins, expansive sawmills, specialized smithies, sail lofts, and vast equipment storage warehouses. Surrounding waterways and docks were continuously packed with raw logs, floating timber rafts, and transport barges delivering iron from across northern Europe. More than 1,000 skilled artisans, laborers, apprentices, and specialized craftsmen entered the shipyard gates each morning at the sound of bells. Master shipwrights governed the construction yards, translating empirical design traditions and hull proportions into full-scale wooden vessels without formal blueprints. Carpenters, known as Shipyards, formed the core workforce, wielding specialized axes, adzes, augers, and draw knives with practiced, lifelong precision. Sawyers worked in deep pits or manned windmill-driven sawmills, converting giant Scandinavian and German oak trunks into heavy hull planks. Blacksmiths toiled inside enormous forges, heating and hammering thousands of iron hull bolts, chain links, rudders, and heavy anchors. Ropemakers walked the entire length of the 400-meter rope walk, twisting thousands of hemp strands into massive standing and running rigging cords. Sailmakers sat in well-lit elevated lofts, cutting and stitching heavy linen canvas into enormous sails capable of surviving Cape storms. Blockmakers carved thousands of lignum vitae pulleys and wooden deadeyes, essential for managing complex rigging and heavy shipboard artillery. The yard operated 6 days a week from sunrise to sunset, following a rigorous daily schedule strictly enforced by company overseers. Wages were paid weekly, attracting migrant laborers, master craftsmen, and displaced peasants from across the Netherlands and the German lands. Despite the harsh physical demands and pervasive workplace hazards, employment at the VOC yard represented rare economic stability in early modern Europe. Standardized component sizing and synchronized trade workflows allowed multiple hulls to rise simultaneously along the crowded waterfront slipways of Oostenburg. As soon as one ship touched the water, carpenters immediately laid the keel timbers for the next scheduled East Indiamen vessel. The construction process began with selecting massive curved oak timbers, specifically grown and seasoned, to form the ship's primary structural backbone. Shipwrights laid the central oak keel along heavy wooden blocks, sloping gently toward the open water of the IJ Harbor Basin. Heavy curved floor timbers and futtocks were hoisted into position using wooden cranes, block and tackle arrays, and sheer muscle power. Teams of sawyers and carpenters shaped thick hull planks, bending them over open pitch fires to match complex hull curvatures. Planks were fastened directly to the oak ribs using seasoned wooden trunnels and heavy iron spikes driven by heavy wooden mallets. Caulkers followed closely behind, packing unraveled oakum soaked in hot pine tar into every outer seam with heavy caulking irons. The acrid scent of boiling tar, pine resin, burning timber, and molten lead hung continuously over the entire Oostenburg district waterfront. Internal framing proceeded in parallel, with teams installing massive deck beams, structural knees, bilge pumps, and internal ballast stone foundations. Shipyard joiners constructed internal bulkheads, officer quarters, bread rooms, powder magazines, and lower deck crew bunks with utilitarian efficiency. Riggers climbed towering scaffolding structures to fit massive Douglas fir or pine masts brought down from Baltic and Scandinavian forests. Meanwhile, coopers assembled hundreds of heavy oak barrels inside adjacent cooperatives to store fresh water, salt pork, beer, and hardtack. Turners, leatherworkers, and gunsmiths fitted artillery carriages, iron swivel mounts, steering wheels, and brass navigational fittings into the finished hull. The division of labor functioned like a clockwork machine, eliminating downtime by rotating specialized trade teams between adjacent building slipways. The signature vessel produced was the Spiegelretourschepen, a heavily armed merchant vessel designed to withstand treacherous multi-year global trade voyages. These East Indiamen measured up to 50 meters in length, carrying dozens of defensive cannons and hundreds of tons of cargo. Launch day arrived with minimal ceremony, as time and slipway space were far too valuable for protracted public municipal celebrations. Workers knocked away wooden support shores and split blocking wedges with heavy sledges, releasing the greased timber carriage underneath the hull. The massive wooden hull slid backward down the inclined slipway, plunging smoothly into the churning brackish water of the harbor basin. Harbor workboats and rowing sloops immediately secured the newly afloat hull, towing it toward the outfitting keys and masting sheer legs. Within hours of the launch, shipyard laborers cleared the cleared slipway, clearing wood shavings and positioning fresh keel blocks for construction. At the outfitting keys, specialized crews stepped the mainmasts, rigged miles of standing cordage, and mounted dozens of cast-iron naval guns. Stevedores carefully loaded tons of stone ballast, iron anchors, spare timber spars, ship's biscuit barrels, and general provisions into hold compartments. Between 1602 and 1795, the VOC shipyards constructed nearly 2,000 large ocean-going vessels to service their vast Asian maritime routes. The sheer productive output of the Amsterdam yard overwhelmed European competitors and sustained Dutch dominance over global spice and textile trades. This remarkable assembly capacity enabled the VOC to rapidly replace vessels lost to tropical shipworms, brutal storms, shipwrecks, and hostile naval warfare. The constant demand for materials stimulated secondary industries throughout the Dutch Republic, including timber milling, metallurgy, hemp cultivation, and canvas weaving. The Oostenburg shipyard served as an early pioneer of pre-industrial mass production, introducing unprecedented modular organization to heavy maritime engineering. Thousands of foreign travelers, foreign ambassadors, and visiting shipwrights visited Amsterdam specifically to inspect the renowned efficiency of the company yards. Tsar Peter the Great of Russia famously lived and worked undercover as a carpenter in Amsterdam shipyards to master Dutch naval architecture. The yard fostered an exceptionally dense community of skilled urban laborers whose collective expertise remained unrivaled anywhere in the 17th century world. Generations of Amsterdam families worked their entire working lives within the high brick walls and wet docks of the Oostenburg complex. The constant rhythm of yard bells, forge hammers, and falling timber formed the defining acoustic backdrop of Eastern 17th century Amsterdam. Beyond economic power, the shipyard served as a vital strategic pillar, guaranteeing the national sovereignty and naval defense of the Republic. The ships launched from these wooden slipways bridged continents, establishing regular commercial and cultural contact between Western Europe and distant Asian ports. The yard's relentless construction pace permanently transformed European shipbuilding from an artisanal craft into an organized, high-volume proto-industrial enterprise. Long before modern assembly lines, Amsterdam proved that systematic labor division and centralized logistics could conquer global maritime distances. Today, the monumental VOC warehouses at Oostenburg stand along the quiet Amsterdam waterfront as enduring stone monuments to this industrial triumph. The historical legacy of the shipyard reflects a transformative moment when human organization and maritime craftsmanship reshaped world geography. The thousands of unnamed carpenters, smiths, and laborers who walked those slipways laid the physical foundation of the Dutch Golden Age. Their extraordinary engineering discipline ensured that from a small North Sea marshland emerged the world's most formidable maritime trading empire.